12 Golden Age superstars who broke the law and served major prison time. A beloved Western TV star stomped his wife to death in front of their 14-year-old daughter. An Oscar-winning actor shot his newlywed wife in the head before turning the gun on himself. A leading man beat another actor so severely that the man died days later, then married the victim's widow after serving just 2 years in prison. These aren't dark movie plots. They're the real, hidden criminal histories of Hollywood's most celebrated stars. While fans watch these icons on screen portraying heroes and romantics, many of these same celebrities were cycling in and out of prison cells, hiding violent pasts, and using studio power to bury their criminal records. Some returned to fame and fortune after serving time. Others saw their careers instantly destroyed for far lesser offenses. The Hollywood machine didn't just create films, it manufactured carefully sanitized images of its stars, erasing arrest records and prison sentences from their official narratives. Major studios deployed armies of fixers, lawyers, and publicists to keep mugshots out of papers and criminal records hidden from the public. Today, we're exposing the shocking truth about 12 Golden Age celebrities who didn't just face minor legal troubles, they served hard time behind bars. Their stories reveal Hollywood's most closely guarded secret, the wildly inconsistent moral standards that determined which criminals deserved second chances and which would pay with career death. But first, we begin with perhaps the most disturbing case of all, a family-friendly television personality whose wholesome cowboy image concealed a monster capable of unthinkable domestic violence.
See that gal with the red dress on, some folks call her Diamond, stole my heart away from me way down in...
1. Spade Cooley, the Western star who tortured his wife to death. In the 1950s, Spade Cooley entered millions of American homes each week as the charming, wholesome king of Western swing. His music variety show on KTLA made him one of television's most beloved personalities, a family-friendly entertainer who embodied traditional values for his devoted audience. Behind this carefully crafted image lived a sadistic abuser whose jealous rage would culminate in one of Hollywood's most horrific murders. On April 3, 1961, Cooley's wife Ella May told him she wanted a divorce. What followed wasn't just a murder, it was a prolonged torture session so brutal that officers at the scene were physically sick. Cooley beat her, stomped on her head repeatedly with his cowboy boots, burned her with cigarettes, and then dragged their teenage daughter into the room to witness her mother's final moments. "Look at your mother," he told 14-year-old Melody. "She's going to be dead in 5 minutes. Do you want to watch her die?" The details from the autopsy were so graphic that newspapers refused to print them. The trial revealed not an isolated incident of rage, but years of escalating abuse. Cooley had previously knocked Ella May unconscious multiple times, held guns to her head, and maintained a household of terror. Despite overwhelming evidence, Cooley's defense tried painting Ella May as unfaithful, suggesting his violence was somehow justified by suspected infidelity. The jury took just 1 hour to find him guilty of first-degree murder. Sentenced to life imprisonment, Cooley served only 8 years before receiving temporary release to perform at a police benefit concert in 1969. In a final twist of fate, the man who had tortured his wife to death suffered a massive heart attack backstage after performing his hit song "Shame on You." He died still technically in state custody. What's most shocking isn't just the brutality of his crime, but how completely Hollywood erased him afterward. The same industry that had celebrated Cooley for decades immediately scrubbed him from its history. His recordings, television shows, and films disappeared from circulation. His star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame became an anonymous piece of sidewalk, and the entertainment world collectively agreed to forget the monster they had helped create.
The Arabs and the Pakistanis and the Africans. London, as a matter of fact, has become the most exotic city in the world. Truly.
2. Robert Mitchum, the bad boy who made prison cool. With his heavy-lidded eyes and don't-give-a-damn attitude, Robert Mitchum embodied film noir cool in classics like Out of the Past and Night of the Hunter. But on August 31, 1948, this carefully crafted image of effortless rebellion faced its greatest test when police raided a Laurel Canyon party and caught Mitchum smoking marijuana. Today, such an arrest might merit a brief tabloid mention. In 1948, it was front-page news nationwide, a major drug scandal that threatened to destroy one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. Headlines screamed about Hollywood drug orgies, moral crusaders demanded Mitchum be permanently banned from films, and RKO Pictures immediately suspended him. Asked by reporters if the arrest would ruin his career, Mitchum delivered the laconic response that would define his approach to the scandal. "This is like being kicked to death by a pack of butterflies." The bravado hid genuine risk. Drug charges in post-war America carried both serious prison time and career-ending stigma. When the court sentenced Mitchum to 60 days at a prison work farm in Castaic, California, many industry insiders declared his career finished. Unlike modern celebrities who serve nominal jail time in private wings, Mitchum worked genuine prison labor, digging ditches and working fields alongside other inmates. Prison officials reported that despite his fame, he demanded no special treatment, earning respect from both guards and fellow prisoners. The most extraordinary aspect of Mitchum's case wasn't the crime or the sentence, it was what happened after his release. Rather than finding his career destroyed, Mitchum returned to Hollywood more popular than ever. His bad boy image was no longer just screen persona, but validated real life. His prison time didn't contradict his public image, it confirmed it. RKO quickly put him back to work in the big steel, cannily using promotional materials that played on his outlaw status. Audiences flocked to his films in greater numbers than before, and critics began taking his performances more seriously, as though his brush with authentic criminality had deepened his noir anti-hero credibility. Mitchum's case established the template for how certain male stars could transform legal troubles from liability into asset, provided their crimes aligned with their existing image. The prison term that might have destroyed a more wholesome performer's career actually enhanced Mitchum's appeal, demonstrating Hollywood's wildly inconsistent moral standards.
Vacation. He may be in tonight.
We'll bring the party to you. Really welcome the kid home.
3. Lila Leeds. Same crime, different punishment. When police raided that Laurel Canyon party in 1948, they arrested not just Mitchum, but also a stunning 20-year-old blonde actress on the verge of breakthrough success. Lila Leeds, often compared to Lana Turner for her remarkable beauty, had appeared in small roles in several films and secured a promising contract with Paramount. Leeds was arrested for the exact same marijuana offense as Mitchum. She served the exact same 60-day sentence at the same prison farm. The critical difference? Mitchum returned to a waiting career. Leeds was blacklisted for life. While RKO calculated that Mitchum's box office draw outweighed his scandal and quickly reinstated him, Paramount immediately terminated Leeds' contract. Every door that had been opening for the young actress slammed shut across the industry. The identical crime that temporarily stalled Mitchum's career permanently destroyed hers. After her release, Leeds found all legitimate film opportunities vanished overnight. Desperate to capitalize on her sudden notoriety, she briefly toured in a cautionary stage show called The Marijuana Story, playing herself in a moralizing tale about the dangers of drug use. The exploitation of her own scandal provided only temporary employment. Her post-arrest life spiraled downward in a trajectory all too common for women whose Hollywood aspirations were derailed. She struggled with ongoing substance issues, worked briefly as a manicurist, and married several times seeking stability. By the time of her death in 1999, she was largely forgotten by an industry that had once considered her a potential star. The stark contrast between Mitchum's triumphant return and Leeds' permanent exile wasn't just about star power, it exposed Hollywood's fundamental gender double standard. Men could be bad boys whose misbehavior enhanced their mystique, while women who committed identical offenses were deemed morally irredeemable regardless of talent or potential. The same criminal justice system and the same entertainment industry produced radically different outcomes for Mitchum and Leeds. His story became a triumph over adversity. Hers was erased from Hollywood history entirely.
Now look, you had those things before. You picked them up somewhere, and you misplaced them a long time ago. And last night you had a
4. Paul Kelly. From killer to comeback. In 1927, actor Paul Kelly was building a promising career when he became entangled in a love triangle with devastating consequences. Kelly began an affair with actress Dorothy McKay, who was married to actor Ray Raymond. When Raymond confronted Kelly about the relationship, Kelly beat him so severely that Raymond died of his injuries days later. This wasn't a case of accidental death or ambiguous circumstances. The beating was so brutal that Raymond lingered for days before succumbing to internal injuries. The subsequent investigation revealed not just the fatal assault, but evidence suggesting Kelly and McKay had continued their relationship immediately after Raymond's death, showing callous indifference to the dying man. Kelly was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 1 to 10 years in San Quentin prison, a substantial penalty reflecting the seriousness of his crime. Unlike celebrity inmates who receive special treatment, Kelly served his time under standard conditions in one of California's most notorious prisons. The extraordinary aspect of Kelly's case isn't the crime itself, but what happened afterward. After serving just 25 months, Kelly was released, and instead of finding himself permanently blacklisted, he gradually rebuilt his acting career. By the 1940s, the man who had literally beaten another actor to death was not only working again, but securing significant roles in major productions like The Flying Tigers and, ironically, San Quentin, where he played prison characters. His career rehabilitation was so complete that in 1947, he won a Tony Award for his performance in Command Decision on Broadway. Even more shocking, Kelly eventually married Dorothy McKay, the widow of the man he had killed. The marriage lasted until McKay's death in a car accident in 1940. Kelly's remarkable comeback demonstrates Hollywood's selective application of moral standards. The same industry that would permanently exile performers for relatively minor offenses or personal scandals welcomed back a convicted killer when his talents were deemed valuable. This wasn't rehabilitation. It was calculated market value overriding all ethical considerations. The fact that Kelly's victim was not a major public figure undoubtedly helped limit the scandal's long-term impact, but his case stands as perhaps the most dramatic example of how Hollywood's moral judgments were never about the severity of crimes, but about commercial calculations, gender dynamics, and the protection of valuable assets.
What, 5 foot?
He's 5'2".
5'2", and you're over 6 feet, right?
Almost 6'2".
So you're junior, and your dad's a foot shorter.
5. Mickey Rooney Jr., the troubled son of Hollywood royalty. As the son of America's most beloved young star, Mickey Rooney Jr. entered the world with every possible advantage: name recognition, industry connections, and a father whose wholesome image had made him one of the nation's most bankable stars. These advantages couldn't protect the younger Rooney from the substance issues and legal troubles that repeatedly derailed his attempts to establish an independent career, creating a stark contrast between the squeaky clean public image of the father and the troubled reality of the son. While the elder Rooney had his well-documented issues with gambling and marital infidelity, he largely avoided serious legal consequences. His son wasn't so fortunate, accumulating a rap sheet primarily related to drug possession that resulted in multiple jail terms throughout the 1960s and 70s. Mickey Jr.'s legal problems weren't isolated incidents, but reflected ongoing substance dependency issues that created a downward spiral. Fewer professional opportunities led to greater personal problems, which further reduced his career prospects, trapping him in a cycle of addiction and legal troubles. What makes his case particularly illuminating is how it exposed the dark underside of Hollywood dynasty. The pressure of following a famous parent, growing up with privilege and easy access to substances, and navigating the complicated family dynamics of entertainment households created a perfect storm of risk factors. Born into fame but living in handcuffs, Mickey Jr.'s trajectory reveals how Hollywood stardom often extracts costs that extend beyond the famous individual to impact family members, creating intergenerational patterns of struggle that manifest in legal troubles and unfulfilled potential, despite seemingly advantageous starting positions. Unlike his father, who maintained a carefully managed public image throughout decades of private turmoil, Mickey Jr.'s troubles played out in public view through multiple arrests and incarcerations, creating an uncomfortable reality that the studio publicity machine could no longer control in the post-studio era.
1943, in boot camp, and they had on Friday nights.
6. Hugh O'Brien, the lawman who served time. For millions of television viewers in the 1950s, Hugh O'Brien embodied law and order as the straight-shooting Marshal Wyatt Earp in the hit series The Life and Legends of Wyatt Earp. His square-jawed good looks and moral authority made him the perfect television lawman, a symbol of justice that audiences welcomed into their homes weekly. This image of upright character makes it all the more surprising that O'Brien himself had experienced confinement for breaking military law, a history completely at odds with his later portrayal of America's most famous frontier lawman. Born Hugh Crampa, the future actor enlisted in the Marine Corps during World War II and became one of the youngest drill instructors in Corps history. During this service, An incident of insubordination resulted in his temporary confinement to the brig, a military jail term that occurred long before his acting career began. The specific details of O'Brien's offense remain somewhat obscure in public records, but military records confirm his confinement was a genuine restriction of liberty under guard. While not comparable to long-term imprisonment for serious criminal offenses, it represents a legitimate instance of a future star experiencing actual incarceration. The irony is unmistakable. The actor who would become television's most famous upholder of law and order had himself experienced punishment for breaking rules. This transformation from rule breaker to rule enforcer represents a significant personal evolution that may have informed his convincing portrayal of the legendary lawman. After his military service ended, O'Brien's life took a dramatically positive turn. He pursued acting and quickly found success, eventually landing the Earp role that would define his career. Beyond his acting work, he founded the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Organization, which has provided leadership training to high school students since 1958, creating a remarkable legacy that emerged from someone who had once faced consequences for challenging authority. O'Brien's journey from military confinement to beloved television star demonstrates how early encounters with the justice system need not define an individual's entire life trajectory. His transformation represents one of the more positive post-confinement narratives in Hollywood history, a redemption story that was completely concealed beneath his lawman image.
Sit down, won't you, Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Gig, but not here. You have indicated that I am counsel for the defense in the court.
7. Gig Young, the Oscar winner who lost everything. In 1970, Gig Young reached the pinnacle of acting achievement, winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role as the cynical dance marathon MC in They Shoot Horses, Don't They? His Oscar acceptance speech was charming and gracious, giving no hint of the darkness that would consume him in the years that followed. The golden statue represented the culmination of decades as a reliable supporting player specializing in sophisticated, slightly world-weary characters. What should have been a career peak instead marked the beginning of a devastating decline involving escalating substance abuse, erratic behavior, and multiple encounters with law enforcement. Young's problems with alcohol predated his Oscar, but intensified dramatically afterward. What had once been a manageable issue increasingly controlled both his professional reliability and personal conduct, leading to a series of incidents that repeatedly landed him in jail cells rather than movie sets. Though never serving an extended prison sentence, Young experienced multiple short-term detentions throughout the 1970s. He was jailed following incidents involving public intoxication, threatening behavior while under the influence, and firearm violations, creating a pattern of escalating encounters with law enforcement that reflected his deteriorating mental state. These incidents weren't isolated events but manifestations of serious untreated mental health and substance issues. Young found himself increasingly unable to secure the quality of roles that had previously defined his career. His reputation for unreliability and volatile behavior made studios reluctant to cast him, despite his demonstrated talent and recent Academy recognition. The tragic culmination came on October 19, 1978, when Young shot and killed his fifth wife, Kim Schmidt, before turning the gun on himself. The murder-suicide occurred just 3 weeks after their marriage, shocking an industry that had watched his decline but failed to intervene effectively. Young's trajectory from Academy Award winner to murder-suicide perpetrator in just 8 years represents one of Hollywood's most dramatic falls from grace. His story serves as a stark reminder of how untreated mental health and substance issues can lead to tragedy despite professional success and recognition. What makes Young's case particularly significant is how his multiple jail detentions represented missed intervention opportunities. Each encounter with law enforcement reflected escalating behavior that, if addressed differently, might have prevented the ultimate tragedy. Instead, these incidents were treated as isolated events rather than a dangerous pattern requiring serious intervention. The contrast between Young's professional achievement and personal collapse makes his story especially haunting. The same man who reached acting's highest recognition found himself repeatedly behind bars and ultimately driven to violence, suggesting that professional success provides no immunity from the personal demons that can lead to both legal troubles and tragic outcomes.
It's a commitment for life.
8. Danny Trejo, from prison to stardom. While most of our subjects experienced legal troubles that interrupted established entertainment careers, Danny Trejo represents the opposite trajectory. a man who served serious prison time for violent offenses before finding his way to Hollywood success. Born in 1944, Trejo's youth and early adulthood were dominated by escalating criminal involvement, including drug dealing, robbery, and violent offenses. These activities led to multiple incarcerations in California's most notorious prisons, including San Quentin, Soledad, and Folsom, institutions known for housing the state's most dangerous offenders. Unlike celebrities who served brief jail terms for minor offenses, Trejo experienced extended imprisonment for serious crimes. His time in the California prison system wasn't a brief detour, but a defining period lasting approximately 11 years across various institutions, a genuine hard-time experience that few in Hollywood could comprehend. During his incarceration, Trejo became a champion boxer in San Quentin's prison program and began addressing his substance abuse issues, developments that helped him maintain sobriety after his release and provided skills that would later prove valuable in his unexpected acting career. His path to Hollywood began after release when he worked as a drug counselor. His entry into the entertainment industry came when he was asked to serve as a substance abuse advisor on the set of the 1985 film Runaway Train. His distinctive appearance led to him being offered a role as a prison inmate, a part he could play with unique authenticity given his background. What makes Trejo's case extraordinary isn't just that he rebuilt his life after prison, but that he constructed an entirely new career that would have seemed impossible during his incarceration. His transformation from repeat offender to beloved character actor with hundreds of film and television appearances represents one of Hollywood's most genuine redemption stories. Unlike many former inmates who struggle to find employment after release, Trejo built a remarkably successful acting career spanning decades. His distinctive face, bearing the marks of his difficult early life, has become instantly recognizable to audiences worldwide, appearing in projects ranging from Robert Rodriguez films to family comedies. Most significantly, Trejo has been completely transparent about his criminal past, frequently sharing his story to inspire others struggling with similar challenges. Rather than hiding his history, he has integrated it into his public persona, using his experiences to demonstrate the possibility of genuine transformation. Trejo's journey from prison to Hollywood success represents a powerful counter-narrative to the more common pattern of established stars, whose careers are damaged by legal troubles. His case demonstrates that the relationship between incarceration and entertainment career isn't always one-directional. Sometimes the most unlikely backgrounds can become the foundation for unexpected success. 9. Lionel Atwill, the horror icon's hidden scandal. For horror film enthusiasts, Lionel Atwill's distinguished presence and menacing intensity made him one of the genre's most reliable performers. Appearing in classics like Son of Frankenstein, The Vampire Bat, and Mystery of the Wax Museum, Atwill created memorable characterizations that helped define horror's golden age. This successful career derailed when Atwill became embroiled in a scandal involving alleged sexual misconduct, leading to a perjury conviction that permanently damaged his standing in the industry and altered his career trajectory. The legal troubles began with allegations about parties at his home. In 1940, Atwill was rumored to have hosted gatherings where pornographic films were shown and potentially filmed. When authorities investigated these claims, Atwill's testimony during grand jury proceedings led to serious legal consequences. The specific charge wasn't for the alleged sexual activities themselves, but for lying under oath about them, specifically denying knowledge of pornographic materials being displayed at his home when evidence suggested otherwise. This perjury conviction resulted in a sentence of 5 years probation rather than imprisonment. Though avoiding actual prison time, the professional consequences were severe. The scandal, combined with the morality clauses standard in studio contracts, made Atwill toxic to major studios despite his established track record and undeniable talent. Before the scandal, Atwill had balanced roles in prestigious Universal horror films with appearances in major studio productions. After the conviction, his opportunities narrowed dramatically, with primarily low-budget studios willing to hire him, and his roles becoming increasingly minor. What's particularly notable about Atwill's case is how it demonstrates Hollywood's selective moral standards. His conviction for perjury in a sex scandal led to effective blacklisting, while other performers convicted of violent offenses sometimes returned to successful careers. suggesting that sexual impropriety was judged more harshly than even physical violence in Hollywood's moral hierarchy. Atwill's career never recovered from the scandal. He continued working in increasingly marginal productions until his death from pneumonia in 1946 at age 61, just 4 years after the perjury conviction that had derailed his once promising career. His case reveals how quickly an established character actor could fall from industry favor when legal troubles intersected with the moral standards of the era, particularly regarding sexual behavior that contradicted Hollywood's carefully maintained public image as a wholesome entertainment factory. 10. Cheryl Crane, Hollywood's teenage killer. On April 4th, 1958, 14-year-old Cheryl Crane stabbed and killed Johnny Stompanato, a mobster associated with Mickey Cohen's organization, who was dating her mother, actress Lana Turner. This shocking act of violence became one of Hollywood's most notorious scandals, a case where a teenager's desperate action to protect her mother from an abusive relationship led to actual confinement despite being deemed justified. The case combined every element needed for maximum public sensation: a famous actress mother, a handsome gangster boyfriend with mob connections, domestic violence, and a teenage girl with a knife. The resulting media frenzy was unprecedented, even by Hollywood scandal standards. The circumstances leading to the stabbing involved an escalating pattern of abuse by Stompanato toward Turner. According to accounts from both Turner and Crane, Stompanato had been physically abusing Turner and threatened to disfigure her and end her career. On the night of the stabbing, he allegedly threatened both Turner and Crane during a violent argument. The coroner's inquest determined that Crane had acted to protect her mother from Stompanato's violence, ruling the killing justifiable homicide. Despite this finding, Crane was still held in juvenile detention facilities, a consequence despite the legal determination that her actions had been justified. The juvenile court ordered Crane to be held at El Retiro School for Girls for evaluation. This period of confinement, while not equivalent to adult criminal incarceration, represented a genuine restriction of liberty under state supervision, making it a legitimate example of a Hollywood figure experiencing confinement following a violent incident. The trauma had lasting psychological consequences for Crane, who struggled with substance abuse and self-destructive behavior in subsequent years. Her memoir, Detour: A Hollywood Story, describes both the horror of the stabbing itself and the additional trauma of media attention and legal proceedings, highlighting the lasting impact of both the violent incident and the systemic response. Crane eventually rebuilt her life, overcoming substance issues and establishing a successful career in real estate. Her relationship with her mother, complicated before the stabbing, underwent further strain afterward, but eventually developed into a closer bond later in life. Her case demonstrates how even justified violence can result in systemic consequences. Despite the legal determination that she had acted to protect her mother, she still experienced confinement and lasting trauma from both the incident itself and the juvenile justice system's response to it.
I don't want to come in, and I won't. I'm a general, and I won't listen to you.
Enough, Trelane. Come along.
But why? I didn't do anything wrong. I was just playing.
11. William Campbell, the bit player with big problems. While never achieving major stardom, William Campbell built a solid career as a supporting player in films and television throughout the 1950s and 60s. With appearances in projects ranging from The High and the Mighty to Star Trek, he maintained consistent employment despite personal issues that repeatedly brought him into conflict with law enforcement. Behind this working actor's career lay a troubled personal life marked by volatile behavior, particularly when under the influence of alcohol. These issues led to multiple encounters with law enforcement, primarily related to domestic incidents and alcohol-related offenses. Campbell's legal issues weren't high-profile enough to generate major headlines, but court records and contemporary accounts indicate multiple arrests and short-term incarcerations throughout the 1950s and 60s. These weren't extended prison sentences, but represented actual confinement resulting from criminal behavior. What makes Campbell's case notable is how it reflects a pattern common among working actors who maintained employment despite personal problems that periodically intersected with the criminal justice system. Unlike major stars whose every legal issue generates headlines, character actors like Campbell could experience multiple legal difficulties with minimal public attention or career impact. For viewers who knew him only from screen roles, Campbell was simply another reliable character actor who brought professionalism to his performances. Behind that professional facade lay a man struggling with substance issues and anger management problems that created genuine harm in his personal relationships and led to repeated encounters with law enforcement. Campbell's marriages, particularly his first to Judith Campbell Exner, who would later become famous for her alleged relationships with both President Kennedy and mob figure Sam Giancana, were reportedly marked by volatile behavior and domestic conflicts that occasionally resulted in law enforcement involvement. Despite these personal and legal troubles, Campbell maintained his acting career, demonstrating the entertainment industry's willingness to overlook certain types of misconduct when they occurred below a certain threshold of public attention and involved performers who were useful but not irreplaceable. His case illustrates how the entertainment industry could accommodate troubling behavior from supporting players even while holding bigger stars to different standards. Major stars might face career consequences for similar issues if they generated sufficient public attention, but working actors at Campbell's level could experience multiple legal issues with minimal professional impact as long as they remained reliable enough on set. David Bacon, the mysterious death with a criminal past. In September 1943, actor David Bacon was found dying in his car near Santa Monica. Clad only in swim trunks and with a stab wound in his back, the 29-year-old's death created one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries, a case that remains officially unsolved while generating decades of speculation about possible motives. What many discussions of Bacon's tragic end omit is evidence suggesting a troubled past that included brushes with the law, background that adds complexity to the already mysterious circumstances of his death. Bacon's Hollywood career was relatively modest. His most notable role came as the lead in the Republic Pictures serial The Masked Marvel, though he never achieved the stardom to which he aspired. Behind this unremarkable professional trajectory lay hints of a more complicated personal history that included potential legal issues predating his acting career. While not extensively documented in public records, FBI files and other investigative materials suggest Bacon had been detained for fraudulent activities before arriving in Hollywood, a background effectively concealed during his brief acting career. These alleged legal troubles gained renewed attention during the investigation of his death as authorities explored possible motives behind the apparent homicide. The mysterious circumstances, particularly the fact that a camera with exposed film was found in his car, but the film was never located, generated numerous theories about potential connections to his past. Adding further complexity were rumors about Bacon's personal life, particularly allegations regarding same-sex relationships during an era when such matters could destroy careers and sometimes lead to legal jeopardy given anti-homosexuality laws still in force. These aspects of his private life reportedly contributed to a complex web of secrets that investigators struggled to unravel. The case was never officially solved, with theories ranging from random violence to crime connections to personal relationship conflicts proposed, but never conclusively proven. Bacon's death remains one of Hollywood's enduring mysteries, with each generation of crime researchers revisiting the puzzling circumstances. Unlike other subjects whose legal troubles are thoroughly documented in public records, Bacon's case involves more speculation based on investigative materials. However, these indications of earlier legal issues provide important context for understanding both his brief life and mysterious death, adding another dimension to one of Hollywood's most persistent unsolved cases.